What is up, everybody? My name is Sam and welcome back to another video, guys. I know before y'all start coming at me, I am sorry. I have been gone for quite some time. I do apologize, guys. I've been very busy IRL. Right after I finished Spider-Man 2 that following weekend, I was in Boston for a Boston Celtics game, go Celtics. So I was gone out of town the entire weekend, and once I came back, I went right back to work, and I have not really had a day off until yesterday, which a couple of my friends came up from New York City, and we were visiting with them. So today is my first day to record in quite some time. I do apologize. So if you guys don't know, I do physical labor for work, and I'm working 40 to 50 hours a week. So I'm exhausted, and even though I'm exhausted, the time that I do have free, I have to dedicate to my girlfriend, because I cannot, have her not feeling loved and wanted as much as I do love making videos for y'all. But that's enough talking for that. I just wanted to apologize. I have been pretty busy, a lot of IRL stuff going on. Your boy just found out he's going to be a dad soon, so that's another big step for me. So I do apologize. I just want to, make sure you guys know that I didn't purposely not record. I just been very exhausted, very tired. And anyways, y'all, with that being said, let's hop right in to our Spider-Man 2 review. Alrighty, yo, so we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly in this game. I played through the game again, and I have watched, a lot of videos on the game, and I've, talked to my IRL friends and, friends about this game. And as much as I do love this game, there's a lot of issues with it. But with that being said, let's get right into the good right off the bat. First things first, the boss fights were fantastic. First of all, including a health bar made it so much better. I didn't really realize how much that would help the game and the boss fights, but the boss fights were fucking amazing. There wasn't one that I was like, yo, like this shit's boring, this shit's ass. Like I had some trouble with a lot of the boss fights. The lizard gave me a little bit of a tough time. Craven, Peter, and Venom, obviously, excuse me. But those were all really good boss fights. They definitely improved upon that. My biggest gripe with this game, which we'll get into later, is a lot of the story and stuff like that. But everything they did well in the first game, they just improved upon, which, for example, the boss fights. Boss fights in the first two games are kind of like the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, but they improved upon that. Next thing that's I really just think was amazing was Craven. Craven, I obviously know who Craven is. I know his story. I've read the comics with him, but I was never too big on him. And this game really changed that. It really made me enjoy the character of Craven even more than I did. I thought he was always a cool character. He just never was one of my favorites, but this game made me love him. Like, he was a badass. Him defeating most of the Sinister Six, and just completely dog walking everybody who got in his way, and the fact that he was so big and menacing just was great. The dude who voiced him was great. Whoever the face design was, and just the overall design of him was fantastic. His just presence was great. I wish we saw more of him. I will talk more about that in the bad part of the review, but I definitely wish we saw more of him. I think the second act with him could have been a lot longer. But overall, I really did like him, and I think that it was a great addition to go with Venom, and I think it led into the Venom story well. And then his ending and his motives were great. The fact that he was dying and he wanted to go on his own terms instead of his body failing him, I thought was a great kind of twist on it, and I definitely enjoyed that. So I definitely thought that was pretty dope. But Venom's design and voice and just power was great. I'm gonna be honest, my biggest gripe with this game is Venom, but I'll get into that later on. Venom's design was peak. Venom's voice by Tony Todd, oh my god, I knew he was gonna be good. From Flash, Zoom is my favorite villain in that, and it's partially because of the voice that Zoom has when he's using the Speed Force and just vibrating his vocal cords. So that's Tony Todd who voices him, if you don't know as well. But he knocked it out the park. I wish we heard more of him, honestly. I felt like this is part of what I'm going to talk about later, but I felt like Tony Todd was underutilized in this game. I would have liked to heard Venom talk more, Venom be on a screen more overall. But Venom's power, great display of it, just showing how, like, beating Craven with ease was just fantastic, and just showing how strong Venom was and how strong he can be was great. I thought they did a really good job on his design, his voice, and his power, and proving that overall. Like I said, we'll talk more about Venom later on because that's one of my biggest issues with the game. The traversal system, fantastic. They took a good system and made it 10 times better, which I didn't know they could do. I know they took like a baby step in Miles by making it better, but this was between the web wings to the speed to the air tricks to everything. The loop to loop, the side, the corner tether thing, that shit was dope. The 2/3 of the story I would say was pretty damn good. And that's not saying, you know, the other third of the story didn't have good parts. Just 2/3 of the story was really solid. Wish it was longer, but we'll get into that. Next thing is some of the suits, and I say some lightly, and I'll talk more about it and go into detail with what other suits I'm talking about. But some of the suits were fantastic, some of the suits were garbage. We'll get into, you know, some of the bad ones later, but some of the good ones, you know, TASM 2, both Raimi suits, TASM 1, you know, the Scarlet Spider 3, I really like. I'm trying to think of what else. The classic black suit with the Venom outline of the blue and red from the 90s animated show. Ooh, that whole classic black suit in general was just fantastic. I was one of the people who did enjoy Insomniac's version of the symbiote suit, especially once it changes and he becomes more enraged. The anti-venom suit I did like. I thought it was pretty good, but I didn't really feel the need for that. I really hope they don't do in the third game, you know, another anti-venom or anti-goblin suit, because I'm kind of sick of the anti-suit kind of story type thing. But obviously anti-venom is in the comics, so they use that. So it was nice that they used it, and it was a cool redemption arc for Martin Lee, so I won't fault him for that. I just didn't think he needed that suit to beat Venom, and partially the reason why he needed it is because they didn't include all of Venom's weaknesses, which Brian Intihart actually talked about in a interview, which I don't agree with their choice on that. They kind of ignored a lot of the comic stuff for Venom, but I'm not talking about that. Next suit next suit, what the hell am I talking about? I like a lot of these suits, but there's a lot of them I dislike too. Like actually I'll pull up my Spider-Man 2 list right in front of me real quick. First of all, the color variants, I wasn't too hype about them, but I really did like them, like the black and red what's the word, black and red advanced suit. But you know, the Arachnite suit I really like. 2099, really like the classic suit. Actually, I'm happy it made a return. I was kind of worried that they weren't going to bring it back. Noir, the Into the Spider-Verse one, I really liked. You know, Spider-Punk's a classic. There's a lot of good suits, but there's a lot of bad suits, I will say that too. There's just, I don't know, they're hit and miss. They're either really good or really fucking bad. The classic Iron Spider was good. Just there's a lot of them that aren't good, but I'll talk more about that later. The next thing that I was saying is the Iron Arm / Miles' new electricity powers that he develops were all really good. I think that was a big help with the combat system, which is also a plus for me in this game, the combat / gameplay, and then the symbiote surge and the symbiote abilities and Miles' new electricity powers and the iron arms, and then obviously the anti-venom symbiote too. But all of that was just all good, great. I felt like the combat was really, really improved upon. I would have liked to see more new animations, more new, you know, takedowns. There were some new ones. I won't say there wasn't, but I was hoping for more. And overall, I just felt like the whole combat system got a really good buff. I thought it was really good. You know, I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe what I'm trying to say, but I think they overall did a really good job with the combat in general. The next part that you guys didn't see me play, the flame side missions. I thought the flame side missions were really good. I like the kind of angle they took. I'm a little bit worried for their take on Carnage because of what they did to Venom. But I initially saw the dude and I was like, that guy looks like Cletus Cassidy, but then they kept calling him Flame. I'm like, all right, this ain't Cletus. And then when he opened up the symbiote in the train, I was like, yeah, that's my guy right there. He's not my guy. My guy's Eddie Brock and Venom, but that dude's a menace right there. But that was a pretty good side mission. I wish it was a bit longer, and I thought it was kind of weird setting up such a big villain with Carnage in DLC, or not DLC, excuse me, in a side mission. And I really, like I said before, do not put Carnage in a DLC, please. He's such a big villain, and we'll get into how big he is if people do not understand how big he is in the next thing. But Chameleon, also the side mission, I thought it was a pretty cool setup, and overall that was really good. So that is pretty much it I have for good. I didn't want to get too into detail because everybody knows this game is great. Everybody knows it's fantastic, and I'm not downplaying that. I love Insomniac. I love the universe they've created. I love the games. I've bought everything for Spider-Man 2. As I'm looking up at my thing now, I have the PS5 bundle, I have the controller, and I have the collector's edition. Okay, I love this game. I do. But it breaks my heart for what we're about to talk about, because they took my favorite comic book character of all time, and I'm sorry to say it, they ruined him. Now we're getting into the bad. Okay, if you guys don't know, we're getting into the bad, and there's much more good in this game. I'm not going to talk about everything. I just want to talk about briefly, because a lot of my issues with this game and a lot of the things I have to say about this game are negative, but that's because I wanted it to be as good as it was hyped up to be. And I'm not saying it wasn't good. This game was great. Overall, I know I played through it and I was super hyped during the walkthrough, and you know, I was experiencing it all for the first time and really not focusing too much, but I went back, I watched a lot, and I'm playing through it again right now, and I have a very different outlook on it. And I'm not saying the game is not great. Please do not come in here hating on me, saying the game is fantastic and I'm a fucking idiot and all of this type of stuff. Everybody has their own opinions. With that being said, let's get into the bad. The biggest bad of this game is Venom. Okay, I don't even really know where to start with this. I've talked about this so many times with my buddy DJ. I've talked about it with my buddy Mike, with my friend Angel. Overall, the Venom story, and please do not come for me, it is garbage. Okay, the whole point, there's two things that Venom, or there's really three things that Venom consists of, whether who's the host or who's not. Okay, there's the duality of the host and the symbiote. They missed that. There's the hate and want to kill Spider-Man. They missed that. And the third thing is, excuse me, he's a lethal protector. He wants to protect the innocent, and he wants to kill Spider-Man. That's the only thing he, you know, really cares about. Those are his three things. And not to mention, he's goofy. Okay, he's goofy. I will put up comic strips up on the screen right now showing you that he is goofy in the comics. The movie didn't just make him like that. He is goofy. He's a goofball. He's a big, and I'm not saying that he can't be scary, because he is scary in the comics too. He's scary in the movies. He's scary overall. He's a big green, Jesus Christ, what am I talking about? Hulk. He's a big black menacing just character, and he's terrifying. And they nailed the look, but the personality, the story, everything besides the look and the voice that make Venom, they missed. And with me getting into that, the first big miss they did is Harry Osborn. Okay, I know I talked about this beforehand, but the story in this game was not good for Venom. The story up until all the way till Venom bit Kraven's head off, that was all good. I wish it was longer, and I'll talk more about that after. But the story up until then was great. But once that happened, where they went the Web of Shadow route, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Overall, that I wouldn't really change any of that. I would have kept it like that. If they wanted to do that, that's fine. I would have liked to just seen more Venom just causing mayhem in Spider-Man's life and being more of a menacing presence than, you know, trying to change the world and heal the world is the whole thing they do. But overall, I don't have an issue with that. But first things first, Harry is not a bad guy. Okay, Harry does not work as the symbiote host, because in this universe they fuck up the symbiote. They fuck up the symbiote's weaknesses. They fuck up the symbiote's story. They fuck up the symbiote's, you know, overall everything. And please don't try to tell me I'm wrong about this. I have read almost every single Venom comic. I have this man tattooed on me. I love this character more than anything. Okay, and that's not saying people can't have their own opinions, because I know a lot of people love it. I know a lot of people like it. They like the different ideas that Insomniac used. Excuse me, I don't mean to keep coughing in your ear, but it's been a while since I did this. But The Harry Osborn storyline was completely wrong. And I'm not saying they needed Eddie Brock, because if you take Eddie Brock and you put him into this story, it still doesn't work. It does not work as a Venom story, okay? They are missing, I remember in one of the interviews, I think it was Brian Intihar or maybe somebody else, they said, oh, it will be a different host, it'll be a completely different take on Venom, but Venom will still hate Spider-Man. Venom will still want to kill Spider-Man. He does not want to hate, he does not want to kill Spider-Man at all in this game. Yeah, there's boss fights, but literally in the boss fight on the football field, when you beat the first round, you beat him in the first round, he literally is holding Peter up and says, you want to join us? We know you want to, or some shit like that, instead of just purely trying to kill him and bite his head off. Like, I'm confused upon that. They said he hates Spider-Man, wants to kill Spider-Man. He doesn't. The whole time he's asking Peter, please join us. We want you to join us. We want you to join us. We want you to be a part of this. We want to heal the world, but we want it with you. You need to join us. The whole time. He does not hate Spider-Man. He does not hate Peter. And partially due to that is because of Harry Osborn. Yes, and people are saying it's an original take, it's a different story, it's a different story. Yes, that is okay. But you cannot change the aspects of the character. That's not Venom. He's not Venom. He looks like Venom, he talks like Venom, he beats the shit out of people like Venom. But the story is not Venom. The equivalent to this, and I've kind of said this and I proved it to a couple of people who they like Venom, he looks cool, but they don't really know much about him. I know a lot about this character. The equivalent to what they did with Harry Osborn is basically making Eddie Brock Green Goblin and wanting him to, you know, make Peter become the Hobgoblin with him, and they go do shit together and they go make everybody a goblin. If they did that with Green Goblin, the whole fucking world would be in shambles. Like, everybody would be pissed the fuck off. But because it's Venom, and there's been different hosts, and some people either love Venom or they just really don't care about Venom, which that's fine. You don't need to love Venom, but at least respect the character of who he is. If they go and change the host of Green Goblin, whether it's Norman or Harry, and they change it to Eddie Brock, for example, people are going to be pissed off. And if he's trying to make Spider-Man Hobgoblin the whole fucking time and not just purely just being crazy and wanting to kill him, people are going to be pissed off. If you go and take a Dr. Octavius and change it completely and make it Norman Osborn who turns into Doc Ock, or fucking Kurt Connors, or fucking Flash Thompson, or J. Jonah Jameson, and he wants Spider-Man to, you know, get the iron arms and we go become the octopuses who fight fucking crime, people are going to be upset. Okay, so please don't be mad at people who are upset at this game and upset at the story. And I want to preface this before I keep going. I don't want anybody to dislike this game. I want everybody to enjoy it and love it the way they do, and I don't want anybody's opinion to change. I'm broadening the understanding of the Venom character for people who aren't too familiar with it, and I'm comparing it to characters that a lot of people do know, like Dr. Octavius and you know, Doc Ock and Green Goblin and everything like that. So that Venom story is not good. Like, literally, if you go and check the mission screen, one of the biggest things I said about this when I've talked to my buddy DJ and Angel about this, they don't even call him Venom. Okay, the We Are Venom scene was the only time he calls himself Venom, and it was more of a fan service. Peter / Spider-Man calls him Venom one time, and it's not even in the cutscene. It's when he's screaming trying to get Venom's attention, and then he goes right back to calling him Harry. In the mission screen, when you look at the missions, they call Venom Harry. Okay, there's no duality of the character. There's no host and symbiote. The whole time everybody's referring to Venom as Harry, but in reality the symbiote is just using Harry. What the Venom character is best at is it's the host using the symbiote, and the symbiote amplifying everything the host is feeling. Hence, Peter, when he had the symbiote, was depressed. He was upset. He felt betrayed. He felt like he wasn't doing good enough. And the symbiote amplified that and made him feel like he needed the symbiote to be a better Spider-Man. Excuse me about that, guys. Anyways, well, like I was saying, he felt like he needed the suit to be a better Spider-Man and to save everybody. He felt like with that suit, he could have saved May. With that suit, he could have saved Jefferson Davis. He felt like he could be the Spider-Man everybody needed him to be with that suit. It amplified his doubts. It amplified his depression. It amplified his sadness. That's what the symbiote does. And like I said, the story before The Web of Shadow stuff and where they really deep dive into Harry and Venom as a character was great. Okay, hence the symbiote stuff before Venom was great. Okay, they during the fights, like when Miles put the concussion grenade in Venom's mouth and Harry appeared, when Peter calls out to Harry literally responds, and if you have subtitles on, it's a question mark where he says Pete with a question mark. He is not aware of what is happening. He is not aware of what he's doing. He does not want to do it. And that's the part that's an issue. Okay, the symbiote and the host merge as one and want one thing, and it works best when it is Eddie Brock. I know people are saying, oh, you're just mad it's not Eddie, you're just mad it's not Eddie. No, if Harry decided to hate Peter because, you know, he was not giving his suit back, or because of what he said to him, or he hates Peter, or he has anger towards Peter because he heard Norman call Peter like a son to him, and the symbiote amplified that, and he purely just wanted to get rid of Peter. He wanted to kill Peter because he was going to let him die, because his dad called him a son, because he did this, because he said this to him, or he did that to him. That would be fine. If he hated Spider-Man, if he hated Spider-Man, he hated Peter, he wanted to kill them, that is fine. That is what makes Venom Venom. The hate for Spider-Man, the duality, the symbiote influencing the host. Okay, there's two beings in Venom, not one, and not one using the other. With Eddie Brock being Venom, especially in the movies, if you look at it, there is two. Venom is helping Eddie the way Eddie is helping Venom. There's two people. I'm not saying the movie Venom is, you know, perfect, because it's not. It's far from it. But this is gonna be a hot take right here. I'm gonna say it, and I'm sorry if you don't like it. I hate Spider-Man 3 the movie, or I don't hate it, I dislike it, and I hate Venom in it. But the Eddie Brock / Venom story in Spider-Man 3 is better than Spider-Man 2 the game. I know everybody's going down the comments saying da 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 this, that, and third. Eddie had beef with Peter. Eddie and Peter's beef amplified. Peter got Eddie fired. Peter stole Eddie's girlfriend. Eddie hates Spider-Man. The symbiote got rejected by Peter and Spider-Man. The symbiote bonded with Eddie. They both hate Spider-Man. They both hated Peter. They worked together as Venom and wanted to kill Spider-Man. That was their only goal. Okay, that is what Venom is there for. He is there. He wants to kill Spider-Man. He wants to kill Peter. Okay, in the story, like when they're fighting and Peter's like begging Harry to please, you know, fight it. Harry calls the Venom or symbiote, and he says, you have to kill me, you know. He literally begs the symbiote, please don't hurt Peter. When Peter is taking the symbiote off him with the anti-venom, he literally says, please don't hurt, and then Venom comes back out and growls at Peter. Harry does not want to do that. Harry does not want to be a part of that. The symbiote is just using Harry, and that is a big miss. Like, the whole duality of the character is gone. The whole hate for Spider-Man is gone. So the issue is duality. There's no duality of Venom and Harry. The hate for Spider-Man is not there because the Venom symbiote is using Harry, who loves Peter deep down. So the Venom symbiote the whole time deeply loves Spider-Man, whether they want to say it or not. And the Venom symbiote wants Peter to join him. That's the whole issue. Okay, and then the lethal protector stuff that I was talking about earlier is gone. Okay, this man does the Carnage symbiote of Maximum Carnage. He does that storyline. The spirals in the symbiote head, the whole taking over the world shit, that is Maximum Carnage. I'm not sure why they use that. I don't necessarily have an issue with it if they did the story right, but it was not needed. It kind of defeats the whole another story point of Venom being the lethal protector. He would never want to just the symbiote thinks it's healing the world, so that's why I'm semi okay with it. It thinks it's healing people and helping people by giving them the symbiote, so I'll ignore that. But the whole duality and the hate for Spider-Man was just not there, and I'm gonna give, due to the great design and voice of Venom and the power of Venom, and then getting to play as Venom was fucking dope. Overall, those are the only redeeming qualities of this story. And for the Venom story specifically, I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. Not the symbiote story, because the symbiote story was good. I wish it was longer, but I'll get into more of that. But the Venom story, the only good things it has going for it is the design, to play as Venom, and then the boss fights with Venom. That's the only thing good at, and overall I give it a 3 out of 10, and that's being generous. And I'm sorry if you love this, I'm sorry if you hate this, please, it's my opinion, and I'm happy you like it, I'm happy you enjoy it. But somebody who loves Venom to death, Venom has been a part of my life since I can remember. I've been reading comics of Venom and Spider-Man since I was the fucking 3-4 years old with my uncle. My uncle used to read them to me until I could read my own. But I love this character, and it breaks my heart that such a good studio who nailed every character kind of fucked up my character. And the biggest issue, it all stemmed from making Harry the host of the symbiote. I don't know why they chose to do that. I know they want to do something unique and something on their own, but they didn't do that with any other character. Otto was still Doc Ock, you know, Matt Gargan was still fucking Scorpion, Alexi, I think his name was still Rhino, you know, fucking I don't get it. You know, Norman Osborn is still gonna be Green Goblin, fucking Martin Lee was still Mr. Negative. I'm just trying to think of other, you know, characters. I mean, fucking Adrian Toomes was still Vulture, so why and Cletus Cassidy is still Carnage. So I'm confused what their need to change the host was, because Brian Interhart even talked about it when he talked about Scream. He said, oh, it's still Scream. Oh, it's still Scream, but if we just changed the host, what does y'all need to change the host of the symbiotes? I don't understand it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm going to talk about this next. Agent Venom and Scream were not needed. I thought they both were cool. I thought it was both pretty dope in the moment, but looking back on it, it was completely unneeded. Giving MJ a symbiote is fine. I don't necessarily have an issue with Scream as much as I do Agent Venom. Scream's not as popular of a symbiote, so they did change her a bit. I know some people who love Scream more are upset, so I understand that and I respect that. I don't know that much about her, minus the Lethal Protector storyline where Venom has to take care of his spawn. So obviously if the story's drastically changed like Venom was, I do apologize to those Scream fans, and I'm sorry. You know, us Venom fans got it too. That's the thing though, everybody who loves Venom as a character is upset with this story. I see it all over Twitter, all over YouTube. A lot of people are, you know, agreeing upon this, so it's not just me. So, and Agent Venom was completely fucking unneeded. He was cool, but completely unneeded at all. Like, Harry just doesn't use a symbiote, then he has it, and he saves the shit at Coney Island, and then all of a sudden he's fighting crime in the Agent Venom suit. It was a whole bunch of jumps that didn't make sense to me. I didn't think we needed Harry to be a crime fighter. I don't like that. I didn't like that. I thought it drove a wedge between Miles and Pete, and it pulled Miles away from the story, which I don't like, because I felt like Miles was on the back burner in the story, which I'll talk more about later. But Agent Venom and Scream were completely unneeded. It was more fan service than anything, especially Agent Venom, but completely unfucking needed. And that fucks up the possibility of, you know, down the road or in the multiverse of this game, Flash exists. You know, we got Flash Easter eggs, but we didn't even get an Eddie Brock Easter egg. We got an Eddie Brock Easter egg in Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man Miles Morales, but we didn't get a goddamn Eddie Brock Easter egg in the game that included his character. Like, it kind of bewildered me. But enough about that. With Agent Venom and Scream, I don't want to get too much into that, but just both were unneeded. You could have kept Scream. That's okay. At least, you know, they try to use a thing where it impacts him more. I think with MJ being it was okay. I wasn't too big on it, but whatever. I don't know too much about the character, like I said, but the overall symbiote story was pretty good until Venom. Like I said, if they would have made Harry, you know, they would have kept Harry in the first game, have him be part of the story, build up the relationship over and over and over and over and over again, you know, through the first game, and then have him be impactful in the first game, and then in the second game, you know, have us find out at the end of the first game, or even in the second game, that Harry was helping his dad create Devil's Breath. So Harry wasn't innocent like he seemed, or something like that. Or you could have done this, leave Harry out of it, leave him fine, whatever, and have Venom kill Norman in the second game, because Norman isn't innocent. He's not an innocent person, and cause that to cause a wedge between, you know, Harry and Pete, because, you know, whatever. You could have had Venom kill it, and there would have been more of an emotional stake with the fact that Harry is, you know, changing. Harry's changing for the worse, because we've known him since the first game. He's been a part of it. The same way we would have emotions about Mary Jane, you know, not talking to Peter anymore, or having issues with Peter. You know, the same thing like that would have worked. Just the whole issue stemmed from having Harry as Venom, and they just made it worse with the story. They clearly, I know there was no comic writers on the script writer for this game, but they fumbled the bag big time, and it shows that they didn't have a comic writer on this. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And this is no disrespect to Insomniac. Like I said, I love the game for the most part. I still think this was a pretty damn good game, and I'm gonna continue going on with the bad stuff. But symbiote story minus Venom was pretty damn solid, but Venom kind of fucked it up a lot. Another thing that I talked about earlier, the bad, not really a bad, it's kind of like like whatever. Anti-Venom story, I thought it was cool and I expected it, but I wasn't sure that I wasn't too big of a fan that Pete became Anti-Venom, and they kind of leave it open-ended at the end, because like it's the Anti-Venom's connected to his DNA, if I'm correct, or if I'm right, excuse me. But there was no like, hey, you got this still, hey, you're gonna still fight crime with this. You know, I didn't understand where that was going, and they just didn't really answer it. So that was kind of a plot hole that I wasn't too big on. And talking about Venom before we get off of Venom, unless we go back to him again, the whole plot point with Norman telling everybody to get the symbiote off his son, and then the Spider-Man do that, and then he's mad about it. It kind of confused me. Like I said, it would have been one thing if Harry died. If I said this in my wish list / predictions for the game, if Harry died because of them fighting him, that would have been one thing. I mean, I know he's like basically in a coma right now, and I'm going to talk about that. I think maybe there's some symbiote still left in him, but he tells everybody to get the symbiote off him. The Spider-Man do that, and he's mad at him, and he goes and sees Otto, which it doesn't really make sense to me at all. That's enough of that. Coming to my next big thing, Peter should have not killed. Peter should have beat Miles easily. Okay, in my opinion, Peter is much stronger, is much more experienced than Miles, and I think he beats him even without the symbiote. A bloodlusted Peter with a symbiote, who's literally being devoured by the symbiote, should have beat the bricks out of Miles. Okay, I wouldn't have changed the fight. I would have still had you play as Miles, but you think you're gonna beat him and Peter and rages more. And what I would have ended the fight with and had him get rid of the symbiote with is Pete punching Miles over and over, and every punch you get a flashback to like the first game, for when he's helping him up off the ground after he gets beat up, or have it flash to a point of feast, or have it flash to a point where they're on the rooftop together. Keep flashing it to memories of Miles, and have it him slow down over time, slowly realize like what the fuck he's doing, and realize I almost just killed this kid that I've been training, who's like a little brother to me, and just ripped the symbiote off. I think that would have been more impactful, and would have showed Pete that he's changing. Something's wrong. He needs to get it off of him right now, because he almost just killed Miles, or at least beat the shit out of Miles, because Peter should have killed him. And kind of tying into that, the story is not as impactful as the first one. The first one, we have the Sinister Six. We have, Otto, his mentor, changing. We have, the relationship between MJ and Peter. Then the biggest thing is May dying. I mean, in this game, we have Harry going into a coma, but it doesn't build up. There wasn't such a big emotional state as there was with May, because I felt like, overall the story with Harry wasn't very strong, and obviously it would have benefited from having Harry in the first game, but overall I definitely felt like the story wasn't as impactful and as convincing as the first game. And that's nothing bad against Insomniac. I just felt like it wasn't as emotional, it wasn't as impactful, and it could have changed and could have been better with Harry dying, or simply rewriting shit from back to the first game, having Eddie be Venom and Venom's pure hate for Spider-Man, have him killing somebody close to Spider-Man, and Peter, whatever, just having something more impactful, having, Venom terrorize his life instead of just trying to change the world and heal the world, as he says. Another thing that I need to talk about, two big things, is Craven killing villains off screen besides Scorpion. Like, why the fuck not show us that? That would have been dope to see, especially considering Glitchers found like a throne where he kills Rhino, or supposedly kills Rhino. He's killed Rhino, he's killed Vulture, Scorpion, and I think they mentioned Electro. Like, that's 4 out of the Sinister Six. Like, and he had Lee in his grasp. Like, he was about to body the Sinister Six, and we only saw Scorpion die. Are you serious? Like, why not show that on screen, or at least give us like a computer we can find and go watch that happen? Like, that would have been dope. Or give us a screen where we go and fight as Craven against these villains as like a secret Easter egg. It would have been dope. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that kind of made that story, like that whole first game was surrounded by these guys and they die off screen. Even Rhino, especially, he was in the first game and in Miles Morales. Like, I'm kind of confused on that. And another thing, Black Cat appearing for 2 seconds. What the fuck was that about? Like, she was on the screen and then gone. And then Taskmaster didn't even show up. And Shocker is another one that Craven killed. We didn't even see Shocker, and they missed the opportunity with the symbiote. But you know, overall, like, he killed so many villains off screen, and it was just fucked up that we didn't get to see any of it, and it really upset me. Like, I'm not a big fan of that. Another thing that I want to put on the bad, which I talked about earlier, is the suits. Okay, I can't even describe how disappointed I am with how many suits that they could have put in. For Peter especially. Miles is overall solid, but Peter, like, this Japanese type suit I don't like, and the fucking the whatchamacallit, the Fantastic Four looking suit, whatever, I guess. And then the Craven suit's pretty cool. The Wraith suit is not good, I'm sorry. The Life Foundation suit, garbage. Okay. What else? The Secret War suit was solid. I like a couple of the other, you know, concepts more. But first of all, taking up, hold on, let me think about, or let me look at it real quick. 8 suits, okay? 8 Tom Holland suits. That is ridiculous, okay? First of all, the homemade suit, that's one thing, okay? But really, like, first of all, the max level suit we get is that ugly ass inside out suit, really, the black and gold one. And then the final swing suit, I wanted that here, so I'm not gonna complain about that. But the Iron Spider suit, garbage. The stealth suit, garbage. The Stark suit and the black Far From Home suit could have been mixed into one. And then the integrated suit, kind of garbage, okay? And this is another thing too, taking up 2 slots for Toby's black and red suit. Y'all could have probably did that as a style, or even if y'all didn't, like, add more suits. Like, if you're taking up this many slots for these movie suits, like, even Andrew's suit, I would have preferred them just to be a style. And that's kind of another thing. Like, I would have liked to see different color variants for the movie suits. Maybe they don't have the rights to do that, but Peter's suits overall, there's not very many good ones. Miles has better ones. The screen mask one, I'm not a big fan of. But overall, like, I don't really have too many issues with Miles' suit. There's a few that I don't like. And then the digital deluxe suits are pretty much all garbage, like all trash. I'm sorry. There's some really good ones though. You know, the classic Spider or classic symbiote. You know, the both of their classic suits. We got a couple of the Into the Spider-Verse suits. Why the fuck did we not get a Miguel Into the Spider-Verse suit or Across the Spider-Verse suit? That kind of pissed me off. As well as a Spider-Punk. Why the fuck did we not get a Across Spider-Verse Punk suit? I don't know, man. The Unlimited Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man, the 90s animated Spider-Man. There's so many good suits they could have put in, and they wasted a lot of suits with Tom suits and just not good suits. And I'm kind of upset about that. These next 2 points kind of go hand in hand. The side missions, amount of them, and the length of the story. Overall, this game felt really, really short. And I know I played it, you know, pretty quickly, but I did the same thing with Spider-Man 1. And Spider-Man 1, if I remember, it took me about 17-18 hours to complete. This game, when I beat the story, now considering I had to replay the whole first hour and a half, when I completed the story, it said I played the game for 12 hours. So realistically, the story took me 11 hours to beat. 11 hours for a game we waited 5 years for. And I think, you know, making the story long in certain areas would have made the game a lot better. Like I would have taken an extra 2-3 hours on the Kraven's last hunt storyline in Act 2, and you know, had Peter have the symbiote for much longer, you know, 2-3 weeks, and have it change him over time. Like they completely ignore that. Harry's fine with the symbiote, then Peter's mad with the symbiote, and I know the symbiote changes him that way. But if you're walking to the game blindly, you have no idea why the fuck is he so mad? Why is he so angry? Why is he so different? But Harry was okay. Harry was fine. And then all of a sudden Harry gets it back and he's fucking a big monster now. Like they completely missed that, and they could have, you know, taken more time and overall just made the story longer, even by, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, you know. And I'm saying that like it's nothing, but delay the game an hour, a year. I would have liked to see more story build up, more Kraven, more Venom. Especially Venom and Kraven felt like they weren't on the screen long, and I would have liked to see multiple boss fights with Kraven. I know we saw the Venom one and the Peter one, but show how strong this man is. Fight him when he first shows up, fight him with Miles halfway through, and then fight him for the final time as symbiote Spider-Man, and then kill him as Venom. Like they say he's so strong, he's killing all these Sinister Six people, and then we fight him once. Like I don't like that. But overall, the story, the side missions, there wasn't very many, and then the length of the story, it needed to be, you know, at least 5 hours longer, and I would like to see it go up to even 10 hours maybe. And I'm one of those people that like quality over quantity. This shit was too short. The first act was fine. Second act was definitely, you know, a bit shorter than I liked. The third act was way too short. Like they don't explain anything about this man. Like they don't explain, you know, where he's from, where it came from. They don't even explain the wings. Like if you don't know, the wings come from the King of Black storyline when Venom kills the King of Symbiotes, Null. And if you don't know, Miles actually gets a suit with Null's logo on his chest once you beat all the symbiote nest. That's what that suit's from, the King in Black. He gets those wings, Venom does, once he, you know, I believe, if I remember it, I haven't read it in a while, but he beats Null, and he becomes the god of symbiotes, and he gets those wings, as well as he has fucking the necromorph sword from Null, and I believe Mjolnir from Thor. So he's a fucking beast when he gets those wings. I felt like the wings weren't needed. I felt like they just looked around for recent popular Venom media and said, oh, that looks cool, oh, that looks cool, oh, that looks cool, and just mixed it all into one. For example, the wings, for example, the fucking the corrupted symbiotes with the spiral shit, which is maximum carnage in the comics. I don't understand why they went these mixed routes and these changing the classic storyline when they did classic everybody else, classic Electro, classic Vulture, classic Shocker, classic Kraven, even classic Doc Ock, and they're doing classic fucking Green Goblin. Why change arguably Spider-Man's #1 most well-known villain, who's gonna sell you the most copy, and they changed it for the, you know, casual person? And the people who adore this character like myself are so disappointed, and I don't even trust what they're gonna do with Carnage. And I know I've heard the thing about the Venom off spin-off game. I don't even know if I want that. Like they fucked up real bad, and I don't even know how they would fix that and how to make Venom come back, whether there's a piece of him out there still, or there's a piece in Kraven still, whatever. Because at the end we do see Venom symbiote burn off. But another big thing is Miles seemed like he was on the back burner a lot in this game. I felt like he felt a lot stronger than Peter too. This kind of ties in. Peter seemed a lot weaker overall. He seems like he's getting his ass beat, like he needed Miles' help against Sandman, who he's beat plenty of times. I like that Miles got Pete out of the symbiote. I definitely think that was pretty well written, well done. Like I said, I would have changed it and made Peter beat Miles, but Miles definitely seems like he's on the back burner. He deals with Lee, he deals with Felicia, and then he helps Peter with the symbiote. But that's about really all he feels like he does. He whoops Venom's ass. No funny shit. But overall, he seems like he's on the back burner, and with them expressing the same way they expressed that Venom will hate Spider-Man, they said this is going to be a game with 2 Spider-Man, 2 stories, 2 this, 2 that. Like, it didn't really feel like Miles was really there fully. It felt like Miles was on the back burner, especially with the overall just story in general. But then he's worried about Haley. Like, I don't know. It just felt like they could have done more with Miles. I think they did really good with the Lee storylines with Miles, so I won't complain about that. That was really well done, and I really enjoyed that. But overall, I feel like they could have done more with him. like I said just prior, Peter seems a lot weaker. He seems a lot more toned down, especially with the symbiote. When he's fighting Miles, he just is so powerful, and they just don't show it properly, and he just gets his ass whooped a lot. Like in the Venom fight, he got dog walk, where realistically Miles beat up Venom pretty easily and didn't get hurt that bad. You know, he got fucked up. He didn't get fucked up like Peter. Peter was knocked out for a while, but overall, it just felt like Peter was weaker. Talking about Peter, I don't like Peter retiring. I feel like they could have left it where like, hey, I'm gonna take a couple weeks, like a month off, whatever. That would have been one thing to show he's still gonna be the main Spider-Man, but it's confirmed that Miles will be the main Spider-Man. And I do like Miles, but I feel like not yet. I don't feel like I don't even think Miles should be the main number one Spider-Man. I think it should be 1A, 1B. I think they both should be a main Spider-Man and continue the way they have. But overall, I feel like Peter should stay in the story, and then they should end the games, the universe after Spider-Man 3, unless they want to bring him back later down the line after they do, you know, fucking Wolverine and possibly a Daredevil game or Daredevil DLC, whatever they're doing with Nelson and Murdoch and the Hand. But overall, I don't really like Peter retiring, and I don't like Otto returning at all. We dealt with him. He was the majority of the focus of the first game alongside with Martin Lee. I don't want him to return. I don't like it. I don't like him returning. I'm not a big fan of Doc Ock, but I loved him in the first game. And that was enough for me. That was overall enough for me. I don't want him back, but they are bringing him back. Brian Intihart said he was the plan to be in the post-credit scene the whole time, and I don't know, man. The third part of this game just is a lot of question marks for me and a lot of frustration for me, because I'm like, you guys were doing so well, and it just feels like stuff just started to fall apart and crumble. And I don't even understand how Otto would know Miles, because he was put in prison before Miles even got bit, let alone trained Miles. But finally, the last thing I want to talk about is I'm not a big fan of the Spider-Verse mission. For such a cool leading up to it, I would have liked to see Miguel or like another Miles, like Miles from the movie, but preferably Miguel show up instead of some bartender that was legit cut from the final cut of the movie. I feel like that was a kind of a bag fumbled right there by them. I thought it was a cool mission, and it would have paid off to see Miguel, or even like, I don't know, even like just one of the Spider-Man that showed up, whether it's Gwen or Spider-Woman or someone that we knew from the movie, because I was like, who the fuck is this chick? Like, I don't know who this is. I had to look her up. It was a scene that was cut from the movie. But that's enough talking. I need to edit this. It's been a while since I've edited, and this is a long video. So I love all y'all. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe as well. Like I said, these are all my opinions. If you disagree, that's fine. Let me know what you thought down below, as well as let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see me play next. I'm gonna probably hop on some horror games, get back into that groove. If you guys want me to go ahead and play through anything, let me know down in the comments as well. I was thinking about maybe picking up Alan Wake, or maybe playing through the Quarry that came out a couple years ago, but I don't know, y'all. I just want to know what y'all want to see. I'm kind of questioned about certain games right now, so I love every single one of y'all. I hope you guys did enjoy. Welcome back, everybody, and I will try to stay more consistent, but stick with me. I do got a lot going on IRL. I love every single one of y'all. Peace out, everybody.